again. I'm Mayanrd Eaton, and this is SCLC Today. And today we're here on the gravesite of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. for a day of remembrance in honor of the 40th anniversary of his assassination. Joining me, of course, is Dr. Charles Steele Jr. and his wife here at the gravesite. Dr. Steele, you and your wife are here today. What does this mean to you, this anniversary, this observation of his death and his commitment to mankind?
Well, first of all, man, I'm honored to be here at the King Center, at the crypt, with Dr. King, Spirit, as well as Mrs. Coretta Scott King. Is very motivating, is very opportunistic in terms of conveying a message to the people that what Dr. King and his family stood for still lives today. We need it 50 years later, now more than ever before. And with my wife being the First Lady of SCLC, my being on my second tour of duty, my wife on her second tour of duty in terms of the First Lady, and talking about the women in the movement. You cannot talk about Dr. King and not talk about Mrs. Coretta Scott King. And that's what my wife represents at this time.
Mrs. King, Mrs. Steele, I sat next to you. What did this service mean to you today?
Well, the service was very inspirational to me. Not only was it just heart-gripping to hear Bernice speaking about her family and the loss of her father at such a young age, but also I thought about Mrs. King and what a strong woman that she must have been in order to stand by her husband while all of this was happening, and she knew the hatred around him. She experienced the hatred because it surrounded the entire family, so she had to be an exceptionally strong woman. So it meant a lot to me.
You spoke about his value to mankind. It still resonates with America, does it not?
Absolutely, and man, not only in America. I just got back from Cuba, and they're only talking about is Dr. King and how he inspired them and liberated them because of what he did throughout the world. They are saying, give us and teach us the methodology and the historicity of this great man. And it wasn't only Dr. King. Let's remember, he had an entire family and an extended family that sacrificed, and many was not only brutally beaten, lynched, and killed, but they are also stood up for something that we're standing on today.
Earlier today, at your behest, Dr. Steele, we talked with Elder Bernice King about her father and about this anniversary of his death. Projecting, what would you think your father would be thinking today, given our political climate?
You know, I try not to answer those questions nowadays. Because no, not because of the climate, because I just think, you know, because he's not here. We don't know how he would have evolved. What I can say is that there were certain things that my father, the best way to say it, there were certain things that he said we needed to do in order to prevent a climate like this. He talked about a radical revolution of values, where we put people over profits, that we needed to shift from being a thing-oriented society to a person-centered society. And what that does is that when people are put first, then some of the injustices that we see in our society, that some of the inequities that we experience today, and even some of the divisiveness would not be at the level it is. Doesn't mean we won't have differences, but we wouldn't be as hostile in our differences, as hatred in our differences, had we followed that prescription to put people over profits. He also told us we had to change our loyalties, that we could no longer be sectional in our loyalties, but we had to become more ecumenical. And that means to have a worldview, a care for all of humanity. You know, when we think about even what's happening with the immigration laws, you know, you have to think about, even as we're trying to make sure we balance law, we have to balance that with justice, and we have to balance it, more importantly, with humanity. So when you talk about taking and removing individuals who you may suspect have committed a crime, and there's a family in that situation, with their children in that situation, what are the steps to make sure that those children now don't become orphan children? You just have to balance that off. There's a lot we could discuss, but it's our humanity that's right now at stake. And I think he would be making an appeal for our humanity, as he always did. I mean, it was always about humanity for him. It was always about what is best for the greater good for him. And so it's my hope that as we move toward the 50th anniversary, that we start thinking in those terms, that one person, one group cannot win over another group. We all have to win in America. We all have to do well in America. And that means some of us may have to make certain sacrifices for others. Some of us are going to have to be willing to put, our lives on the line, our reputations on the line. But he showed us the way. Jesus showed us the way. And it's my hope and prayer more and more people will understand that, and that we will try to guard against stooping to the level of those that we feel are hateful, because we don't want to become like them. We want to make sure that we always shine a light, that we always come from a place of love. It doesn't mean you sacrifice the truth of love, but there's a way to speak truth without being insulting and without being demoralizing.
Elder Bernice King talking about her father and his legacy here on the 49th anniversary of his assassination. Joining me now to say goodbye and wish you well is our President and CEO, Dr. Charles Steele Jr. and his lovely wife. Thank you for joining us. This has been SCLC Today. I'm Maynard Eaton.
We shall